let's get into how the right is addressing Biden's situation. We had Ryan Grimm on earlier, and he made a point of saying that Donald Trump has been incredibly uncharacteristically quiet over the past couple of weeks since the debate, knowing that if the story is not about him, he's winning. That's basically his strategy. Here is Donald Trump Jr. reacting to the Biden press conference from last night. We should say that Donald Trump Jr. is speaking on Wednesday night of the convention. That is the night that the vice president nominee for the Republican Party will be named. Don Jr. has been known to be a fan of J.D. Vance's.
Yep.
Who knows whether, that means anything or not. But
they're beard brothers. Trump reportedly had some issues with J.D. Vance's beard, but he got over that, Sam. Don't worry.
He got over it. He said he looks like Abe Lincoln, is my understanding. Here is Don Jr., who it's unclear whether his father has gotten over his beard.
Rudy says Biden isn't fit to be president. Well, I don't think anyone necessarily thinks he's fit to be president, but I'm happy to run against him. So I think he did fine enough to be able to stay in it. He doesn't want to go, or Jill doesn't want to go, or Hunter needs the pardon, or whatever it is. They got to drag it out as long as possible. So I think that works. I'm fine with it.
What's going on with his? He's got something wrong with his nose. And he seems a little bit under-energized. I don't know. It seems weird.
Sometimes noses cave in when certain things happen.
Party after party plan.
Deviated septums. They
can happen to anybody when you're an adult.
His voice sounds so much worse than his dad's. I mean, I don't know if it's related to that, but his voice is so much more irritating than Trump's is.
Yeah.
Is that Florida? Is that like Queens versus Florida or something?
That's why Trump's putting. Well, he's on like some ranch in Montana, I think. Don Jr.
Montana
now.
People don't speak that annoyingly.
But I mean, Trump's clearly taking this to heart. He's auditioning Barron now as his favorite son, trotting him out there.
What I've always found with both of these.
You're
guys,
really low now.
What I've always found with these guys really is that Eric and Don have the Trump affect, but they're just whiny. So. Trump whines, but Trump doesn't sound like he's whining.
It's in a queeny, bitchy way.
Yeah,
not
whereas
like
annoying. Whereas Eric and Don are like, they're really just mewling.
Yeah, well, that's Trump being like a queeny, like bitchy guy. That really was his calling. There was this old clip of him going around giving relationship advice back in the day in the 90s on the Wendy Williams show, and he's so in his element. And it's just like, we could have been in an alternative timeline where someone just gave this dude like a daytime talk show, and he really would have just been, I feel like, happier than he is right now. But he decided to go down the fascist road.
I mean, he was always a scumbag. I think that's important to note.
Yes.
When he first got into real estate, they had to have him under a consent decree to get him to not preventing black people from renting his apartments.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there's a good chance he could live 1,000 lifetimes and never have been happy.
I guess that's fair enough. I mean, he always has been a scumbag and somebody that rips people off. And it's odd that his daughter was like attracted to the very same kind of guy, Jared Kushner, also known for racist practices in his apartment buildings.
Here is Fox's Jesse Waters, and you're going to see a lot of this if Biden stays in. There's going to be a lot of like, I would never say that he can't even get through a sentence. I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's true, he can't, but I would never say it. There's going to be a lot of like concern trolling, essentially, that is going to basically serve to remind the public that they think that Joe Biden, or they have questions about Joe Biden being capable of serving out his term as president. And then there's also, they're going to be doing that simultaneously by making it seem like it's inappropriate how they're attacking him. I mean, it's a twofer.
So Joe should just go out tonight and say, I'm tied in the latest ABC News poll.
Yep.
What are you guys talking about? Reagan was down. JFK was down. Mm-hmm. These people came back and won. I've come back and won. The red wave never happened. I would just throw that right in their face, and then I would stop criticizing Democrats, because that's what the Democrats are getting mad at, is Joe's just criticizing them. And he needs to make this about Trump again. He said, I beat him once, I'm going to beat him again. And we're running to restore democracy, and you guys want to rip away millions of people who voted for me. Mm-hmm. You can't just change the rules in the middle of an election and just say, oh, you know what? My candidate's probably going to lose. The polls are bad. Let's just rip them off the ticket. When has that ever happened before? It's never happened before in the history of this country, when just because a candidate is down in the polls, right before the convention, he's gone. They're not ripping him off this ticket because of his mental state. They're ripping him off because they think he's going to lose. The Democrats can't lose one election. It's one election, Richard. And Trump's only going to get in for 4 more years, and then you guys will get back with Gavin. Everybody knows. So it's like lose an election. Like you're just going to just throw this democracy up in the air and just shoot it with a cannon? That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
They're so desperate to keep Biden on the ticket. They're so desperate. And the other thing is the red wave thing. That was a media and Republican Party narrative. That was not what the polls said. The polls did not say that Republicans were going to have a red wave. The polls were actually quite within like the accurate margins for the 2022 midterms. That's different than what is being shown to Biden right now, which is that he's not only down in an aggregate of national polling, but in every swing state that matters.
Well, first off, he's not the nominee yet, because it is before the convention. And secondly, what Jesse Waters is doing here is he's basically serving two things. One is, again, he's reminding people that they think that the Democrats have a problem with their candidate, and and the implication is they should, and that there's dissension amongst Democrats. But then he's also saying he's trying to cover the potential that Biden would be off the ballot. Because look, he's not talking to Democrats, right? So it's not, he knows that he can't keep Joe Biden on the ballot. He's talking to conservatives. And so he's basically saying, if they manage to get Joe Biden off the ballot, you should interpret that as them attacking democracy, that they are authoritarian, that Joe Biden's, the entire sort of narrative that they have where Joe Biden is a dictator, which incidentally, they tried to run on Obama as well with he had like a policy czar, and they started to literally take
all these czars.
I remember that.
Take it literally. They want to be able to transfer that on to the Democratic Party. They want to take that narrative that's already pre-existing about Biden being a despot because of his COVID mandates, et cetera, and they want to graft that on to the next nominee onto the party. And so they're laying the groundwork for that now, too. Do I think that will work? No, I actually don't. That's why I'm not so concerned with like have an open convention, et cetera, because Kamala's going to win anyways. I don't think, I'm just not impressed by that. I don't think that's going to resonate, but that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing right now.
I appreciate Fox News making the argument that you should gracefully accept losing an election for the sake of a democracy. That's a good message to hear from those guys.
You can't lose an election? He's like basically begging the Democrats to lose the election. Also, but at night, I tuned in. I wanted to see
2020 is a good example of them not being so good about letting go. In fact,
exactly.
If I remember correctly, Fox actually had to settle an enormous lawsuit because of the lies that they propagated when they could not accept the law.
Yeah, why does Jesse have that 8 p.m. slot?
Or Karl Rove in 2012.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. But Jesse Waters, I tuned in after Biden's just to see what Fox News was saying, and they were all saying the same thing of like, after Biden's press conference, I don't think he did poorly enough, Jesse Waters was saying, to get out of the race soon. He could be in for weeks, months. And it's just like, all right, guys, between Trump not tweeting about this, attacking George Clooney for attacking Biden, between your son saying he did well enough, they're not doing a great job of hiding what they actually want in this situation.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.